Pushing open the library door, Sam snuck past the librarian, who usually checked IDs. Come on, this way. He motioned for Rain to follow him toward a large cubicle where several computers were being stored. Pulling up a chair, he plugged in his username and waited for the net to load before beginning to search for any and all information regarding demonic possession and shapeshifting. It only took 3 minutes for him to find an interesting article. What have you got there? Rain asked, noticing the title page and leaning in to read it. Look at this. Sliding back in his chair, Sam pointed to the excerpt, which detailed different types of supposedly documented demonic entities. Scrolling down a ways, the one in reference held a Latin title, Animivora, which translated to the English term Soul Eater. The text went on to describe a powerful being said to consume the energy of living things in order to consummate their life force as well as their appearance, thoughts, and sometimes even emotions. It says there are only 6 ever documented cases, Sam explained. The first 3 were in Europe around the Middle Ages. 2 of them were in the Middle East and not subject to questioning, but this last one, he pointed at the screen. This happened about 8 years ago in California. Detailed briefly, the page spoke of a small-time cult that had garnished a reputation out west. There had been rumors that a woman with ties to said cult had suffered from demonic possession before expiring after childbirth. Out of all the places, why would his soul eater choose Greenville? Rain asked. I don't know, Sam shook his head. Hey, listen to this. It says about a year ago, 16 people involved in that cult were killed under mysterious circumstances, and 4 of the local town's children went missing. It's got pictures. He went to click on the link when suddenly the screen went black. What the fuck? Aw, you gotta be kidding. This is gonna be a problem, Rain said, as power was suddenly lost to the entire school. Yeah, no shit, Sam smacked the screen. How are we supposed to fight a demon anyway? I don't know about you, but I'm a little short up on holy water. Salt can keep some things away, and mountain ash generally offers protection from anything supernatural. I guess, but wait a second. Turning to look at her, he arched a brow. How the hell do you know all this? It might come as a foreign concept to you, Sam, but I read. Yeah, well, this ain't no book, honey. This thing is for real. For all we know, we could have Satan wandering the halls of Greenville. Christ, what's next? Vampires? Rain tried not to laugh. Vampires? She chuckled. How could they go to school in the sunlight? It's a moot point. Come on, we gotta warn the others. Getting up, Sam turned to leave in the direction of the gym, which just so happened to be where Rourke was also headed. Liz had already taken her seat on the bleachers while the coaches began to divvy up the roster. Noticing her, it wasn't long before Rourke appeared beside her. Hey, Liz, how you been? Good, I guess. It's really dark in here. Yeah, I think a car might have hit a pole or something. Stupid Transformers. Talking to some of her teammates about the party she was planning, Leah noticed the 2 of them and excused herself. Hey, Liz, she said with a smile. I'm having a party this weekend, and since you're friends with Rain, do you want to come? Sure, I'd love to. Goth chick's having a party? Her name is Rain, Leah snapped, and I'm the one having the party. Yeah, sleet, hail, snow, whatever. What's the occasion? Where have you been? She regarded him oddly. I always have a party at the beginning of school. Preoccupied, and you know I never get invited to those kinds of things. Oh, poor Rourke, Liz teased. Hey, I'm serious, he said before Sam and Rain came running in. Oh, great, here comes trouble. Rourke looked up again as the coach rose from his seat to announce they would be moving outside. We're going to take this to the field today, guys, so go get your stuff. You have a choice between baseball, tennis, or soccer. Coach Rhyme is already on the courts with the equipment, so you can walk over there. If you're interested in baseball, you're with Coach Hain, and if you play soccer, you're with me. Grumbling to himself, Sam shot a look in Rourke's direction before slipping up the bleachers and plopping down next to Matt. I guess it's a giving him up for baseball, he sighed, while Liz slipped her things into her backpack. I'm going to go out for tennis, not much for sports. Rourke thought for a second before his eyes gradually began to narrow at Leah. Soccer sounds fun. Please, you'll trip over yourself, she said as she got up. That's what you think, Freckles. Stuffing his hands into his pockets, he followed them toward the field while Sam and Matt started for the baseball pit and Liz ran off in the direction of tennis. Prove me wrong, Stoner, Leah laughed. Is that a challenge? Rourke took his position beside the coach, who pulled a bright green soccer ball from a white mesh bag. You better be careful, Rain said to Leah, referencing the look he'd given her. Please, what's he going to do, trip me? Snickering as he inevitably wound up on the opposing team, Rourke made his way center field. Grabbing the kid who was already in the face-off circle, he threw him over and stepped up to give Leah a competitive grin. I want a clean game, you two, the coach said before tossing the ball. Loosening her shoulders at the sound of the whistle, Leah leapt forward. Rourke was a blur. Hooking one of his sneakers around the side of her leg, he tried to yank her footing out from under her. Surprised by his sudden skill, she tripped and turned to run after him. Rain, in the meantime, had been appointed goalie and knew that if she let him score, Leah would kill her. Noticing her position, Rourke stopped. Waiting as if in taunt, he steadied his footing, and when she approached, hooked his shoe to her ankle yet again as he sent the ball flying toward Rain. Scraping her knees against the grass, Leah looked stunned and got up just in time to see Rain catch the shot. Lucky break, he muttered, passing Leah with a snicker. Have a nice trip? I hear you get a good view of the rest of the dirt from down there. Cheater, you wouldn't have scored if you weren't playing dirty. You want to play dirty? I believe that can be arranged. Not if you don't want to end up in the nurse's office, Leah warned. Oh no, honey. The only one who's going to wind up there today? Rourke snapped his fingers and the rest of his teammates went rigid. Is you, he said as the 6 other kids on his team suddenly raced forward in orchestrated succession. Running as fast as she could, Lee let her own teammates keep defense. Rourke knew he wasn't going to make it in time, and instead his eyes narrowed toward the goalie. Meeting his gaze, the boy's attention snapped, and in one great leap that seemed slightly out of place, he jumped for the ball and caught it with his face. It bounced back onto the field where Rourke saluted Leah with his middle finger and delivered a single powerhouse kick. Flying straight toward Rain, the ball pulsed for a split second with what was unarguably a fume of black fog. Sam, wake up, the coach called out as Sam's jaw dropped. He had been so previously engaged in watching the others he'd completely forgotten to swing, and a second later was lying in the dirt with a splitting headache. Back on the field, Rain had caught the projectile, although it had thrown her. Surprised she'd actually done so, Rourke's eyes widened, though at the sound of the bell his attention broke and the ball returned to normal, as did the confused expressions of the students on his team. That was really stupid, he said to Rain, who felt a wave of nausea as she got up. You are not supposed to catch that. Chocolate and water, lots of it, before she pukes her guts. Too ill to tell him off, both girls hustled to the locker room where Leah held the water fountain to keep Rain from making a mess of herself. I think my folks packed a Hershey bar for me today, she said apologetically. Walking in to reclaim her things, Liz stopped when she noticed the ill expression spread across Rain's face. You don't look so good. Maybe you should go to the nurse. I'm fine. Yeah, I still think you should go, Liz replied. I can pick up the math work for you if you want. Glancing at her, Rain struggled not to be rude. Sure, she said as she ripped open the chocolate bar despite having no desire to actually eat it. I'll take her, Leo offered. If you could get her work, that'd be great. With a spry nod, Liz hurried off while another bell blared in the distance and the halls began to flood. Come on, she'll give you something for the nausea. I'm going to kill him, Rain groaned. Of course, the nurse's station already had a bit more on their hands than they could handle. Sam, can you hear me? Shaking him frantically, the coach looked worried, although when Sam opened his eyes, such worry melted to aggravation. What the hell is wrong with you, boy? You're supposed to hit the ball, not wear it. And how many times do I have to tell you about that hat? Reaching down, he plucked it from Sam's head and turned to address the nurse. Keep him here till he's coherent, then send that bum to class. Giving a slight nod, she slapped an ice pack across his face, causing him to wince, although he still managed to sport a special finger in the coach's direction. Man, your dad is an asshole, Matt said as he took a seat. Sam let it go and leaned back while a large red welt began to form across his face. So why didn't you swing? Opening his eyes, his gaze slid over. Rourke. Oh, here we go. You didn't see it? Come on, Matt. Tell me you saw what he did out there. I'm sorry, Sam. I was busy minding my own business. Oh, dude, it was insane. I'm telling you, there's no way. Uh-huh. I'm serious. I went to the library and did some research. Sam, please. Just humor me, would you? Matt crossed his arms and listened while Sam began to explain what he and Rand had found. So you're telling me you think Rourke's a soul eater? After what I've seen, I'm willing to believe it. There was this article. It talked about a cult where some woman died of possession about 18 years back. Then last year, 16 members of that same cult all died under mysterious circumstances, and 4 kids went missing. Kind of like what's going on here. Don't you think that's a bit of a stretch? I mean, 18 years? And what makes you think it's even the same thing? It's the same cult, dude. It has to be. Then how do you account for the 18-year gap? What do you mean? Sam paused while Matt continued. If the woman died, then shouldn't that have been the end of it? Demons don't just spawn. They need a host, right? If she kicked the bucket, then where the hell was this thing for 18 years, and how did it get to New York? Unfortunately, Sam couldn't answer that, although taking note of Rain as she walked in, a thin smile crossed his face. I don't know, but she might.